So we're gonna first start off just with just land acknowledgement. So paying respects to the land, to the Native American indigenous people. So, and I think Jack, you're gonna put a link, correct? And so we're gonna ask some of the attendees to kind of put a kind of just mention the chat sort of the lands that they're occupying right now. Is that correct? Perfect, cool. And then after that, I'm gonna need a volunteer from one of the students. So if I can have somebody right now, like type in the chat who would want to read the land acknowledgement. If I have any volunteers. And if not, I'll have to
Paul,
cold call somebody.
Paul, did you say you'd be up for reading?
I can do it, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then we'll have Paul read the land acknowledgement. And then after that, I think Jackie, you're gonna start typing in the agreements. So the read community agreements. So we'll go through that. Then after that, then we'll do introductions where we'll introduce the students to cohorts. Then we'll introduce the panelists that are here. And then we'll also have a quick collaborator shout out to everybody who are helping involved in this last 7 weeks, 8 weeks working on these projects. And then after that, then we'll break out into the cohort presentations. So we'll have the panelists and some of the collaborators and also all the other attendees to kind of view the works, and we kind of celebrate the hard work that all the students have worked on for the past 7, 8 weeks. And so after that, that breakout, I think will last about an hour, roughly. And then after that, we'll have a quick break at around 5:25 for a quick 5-minute break, because it could be kind of a draining when you're being on Zoom for so long. And then after that, we'll have a discussion panel with all the panelists. And so if anyone has any questions, just feel free to type your questions on the chat, and then we'll start discussion from there. Then after that, I believe it's just closeout, correct? And then, yeah, so that's about it. So, Jackie, I think if you might have to share your screen about the land acknowledgement, and then Paul, if you would like to read this, feel free.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
An acknowledgement. We honor the indigenous people whose ancestral lands we occupy, the Multnomah, the Calumet, the Clackamas bands of the Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malala, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia River. We thank the descendants of these tribes for being the original stewards and protectors of these lands since time immemorial. We also acknowledge that Portland, Oregon has the 9th largest urban Native American population in the US, with over 380 federally recognized tribes represented in the urban Portland metropolitan area. We also acknowledge the systematic policies of genocide, relocation, and assimilation that still impact many Indigenous/Native American families today. It's important to always remember that colonialism is a current ongoing process, not only a historical artifact. We are honored by the collective work of many Native nations, leaders, and families who are and have always demonstrated resilience, resistance, civilization, healing, and creativity. We are honored to be guests upon these lands.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. So let's do a brief intro to the Your Street, Your Voice program. So I kind of forgot about that, but pretty much the Your Street, Your Voice program for this term, we had students, I think about, was it 12, 13 students total? Yeah, 13, I think roughly. We're spending the last 7 weeks sort of working through projects. And so again, we're just here sort of all of us here sort of just, and as a community, sort of celebrating the hard work again that they've put, and then them introducing and presenting their work. And so hopefully a lot of the students can get really good feedback just from each of the panelists and all the attendees that are here to assist. So, and then with that, I think we can start with the, was it the read community agreement? So, and I think we're gonna just type that in the chat, correct? So how is that going to work, Jackie?
I just put them in the chat.
Oh, you just put them? Perfect.
If you feel, please read them. And these are ways that we want to expect to be in space with each other here. And I know we're Some are very well versed in Zoom, some are new to Zoom. So we are embracing the awkwardness of being virtual and also embracing the fact that we get to spend time together today in this one space in November 16th. And it's so great to be able to do this virtually too. So take a minute, read those, and I'm going to ask for you if anybody needs anything else to be in space with us today. If so, feel free to put it in the chat.
Yeah, and if you have Zoom questions as well, like logistics and any issues, let us know as well. Just type it all in the chat. I think the chat's going to be the best way for people who have issues with mics and cameras, is the best way to communicate. So it just lets us know that you're still active. So cool. And then I think after that, we could start just introductions. So I can go ahead and start, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and start calling some of the students out. So I think Samantha will be starting after. And I think Jackie, you're gonna put the list on the chat. Okay, perfect. So I'll go ahead and start. So Burhan, I'm a TA for the Your Street, Your Voice program. He, him, his pronouns. And what was the question or the prompt for today?
How you feeling? And what's the title of your project?
Okay, so how I'm feeling is good. I'm feeling pretty good today. A little tired and hungry, but you know, it's part of life. So, but I'm not working on a project, obviously. So, but for some of the students, still be presenting that. So then after, I think Samantha, you're up.
All right, hello, my name's Samantha. The title of my project is A Daily Use of Power, an essay / speech by me. And I am feeling pretty good today, just very busy. Oh, and she, her, yeah. And I think there's an order on the email.
Yeah, there's an order. So, so then Misu should be up next.
Hi, my name is Misu. I use she, they pronouns. I'm feeling quite busy today, and the title of my project is Reducing Food Waste in School.
Cool. Okay, then we have Griselda up
Yeah.
next.
Okay, so well, my name is Griselda. My pronouns are she, her, and today, I'm feeling pretty good today. I have a lot of work to do, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. And the title of my project is Gentrified City. So, yeah.
My name is Jasmine. I use she, her pronouns. Today I am feeling pretty good. Same thing with like Griselda. Have a lot of work to do, but still feeling good. And the title of my project is Minimizing the Waste of Trash in / around streets, train tracks, and trail.
My name is Sabina. My pronouns are she, her. I'm feeling pretty good today. And then my title of the project is Woodlawn Exchange.
I think Vanessa, you gotta go on mute. What is she typing it? Okay, cool. And then I think, was it Paul that's next, or Priya already went?
Oh no, I didn't go.
Okay, Priya.
Hi, my name is Priya and I use she, her pronouns. And the title of my project is Educate to Empower.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul. I use he, him, his pronouns. Feeling very rejuvenated to be here and super excited to present. My project is called Heating Up Youth Voices Through ACT, which stands for Assessing, Collaborating, and Tackling Climate and Environmental Justice Knowledge Through Art, Graphic Media, and Publications.
Crystal.
Hi, my name is Crystal. My pronouns are she, her. I'm feeling okay. And the title of my project is Addressing Garbage Through Zero Poverty, No Hunger, and Clean Water.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. My pronouns are they, them. I'm feeling pretty tired. My project is basically about trash value. Sorry about the construction noise in the background.
My name is Tammy. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm pretty low-key kind of stressed right now, but that's okay. The title for my project is Plastic is in the Ocean.
Oh, both of you, Tiffany and Tammy. I think you're back to back, so.
Should I repeat mine, I guess? Okay. My name is Tammy. I go she, her pronouns. I'm feeling pretty stressed besides the presentation.
No, did Tiffany go?
He went first.
Oh, she went first. Okay, cool.
Oh, well, thanks. And the title of my project is Plastic is the New Ocean.
Okay. And
Hi, my name is Namal. She, her.
I think the audio cut out. Could you type it, Namo, if possible? And then we'll have Isabella go.
Hi, my name's Isabella. My pronouns are she, her. I'm feeling pretty good today, a little tired. And the title of my project is Reducing Food Waste by Shopping Locally and Educating on Food Preservation.
And then lastly, we have Vanessa. And if you can't speak, by all means, you can type it too, Vanessa. So. Okay. Well, I don't know if she's alive or not, but we could go ahead with the panelist introductions and we can go while they type out their intros. So I think we have Dr. Kalaine Richardson first. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. So, but so yeah, those are the orders if you check in the chat. So just a brief introduction about you guys and yeah.
My name is Dr. Kelly Ann Richardson. I'm co-founder and head of operations of ELSO Inc. My big homework right now is enjoying this presentation. I am fully present. I have no migraine, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Meenakshi Rao, and I'm an air quality planner at DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality. And I am really excited. I've had a little bit of a preview of the presentations, and I'm really excited at seeing them today. They're more complete.
Hey guys, Ruan Jairira. I'm a mechanical engineer, associate principal at PAE. He, him pronouns. And yeah, looking forward to hearing about your projects and just talking with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Howdy everyone, I'm Minal. I'm also with Oregon DEQ. I'm sort of a generalist in the materials management program. And I too have had a little bit of a preview of some of the projects. I'm looking forward to the completed versions or fuller versions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruchi Sudhir. I use she, her pronouns. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to be here, although I admit to being a little jet lagged and tired as well. And I have been spending my time catching up because I went on a exciting work trip, which is why I'm jet lagged. But I heard a lot of the people saying that they felt busy. So I kind of was really resonating with that too.
Okay, do we have time to introduce the other attendees and collaborators? Yeah, okay, cool. So how do we want to do that, Jackie? That's the question.
I think, why don't we first and foremost introduce our DEQ partners who and our regular guest instructors. And then anyone who's attending, please put your name, pronouns, how you feeling in the chat, how you're spending time in the chat too, because we want to get to know you all too. So I see, let's do Natasha, Marie, Amanda. And then I think Kaylee's here
there.
too.
Hey, I'm Natasha. I use she, her pronouns. I'm feeling good, really happy to be here and see the culmination of everyone's hard work these past 7-8 weeks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marie Diodati. I use the pronoun she and her. So excited to be here. Thanks for being generous with your time and your energy. I work at the Department of Environmental Quality with Minal and Minashki and Amanda. And yeah, excited for today.
Hi everyone, Amanda Ingmeyer, also Oregon DEQ, and I am using she, her pronouns. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm also really excited to see what everyone's come up with over the past several weeks and see the culmination of all your work. So really excited to be in community with everyone.
Any other the collaborators that are here wanna?
I can go. I'm
Go ahead.
Kaylee. I work at the Study Architects. My pronouns are she, her. I am a little stressed today, but I'm really excited to see what everyone came up with. It's been a really beautiful journey seeing you all grow as climate activists and find out more about these issues and take action on them in fun and new creative ways. So I'm really excited to see the culmination of all of that knowledge.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Schnopis. My pronouns are she, her, and I also got to preview some of the projects earlier in the Restrict Your Voice session, so I'm excited to see what is presented today.
Hi everybody, my name is Marta. I use she, her pronouns. I've been following the journey of the students and I'm super excited and honored to be here and share this space with you all.
I think that's everyone, is it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so should we get into these breakout rooms? What do you think, y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, so while Burhan, thank you for being our MC, appreciate it. So great to see all your faces. I have been squirreling away doing breakout room magic. So hopefully the way that we're doing it, just to give you a game plan, for the next hour, 45 minutes, we're gonna all be in breakout rooms individually. We would like to center youth doing their presentations. Since we're probably gonna have 3 to 4 cohort fellows be in each room. So we'd like to give them about 5 to 10 minutes each and then have a conversation, however it flows. If we can have designated folks to remember to record each breakout room, I think for the first room, we got Marie doing the recording. Second room is Amanda. Third is Burhan. Fourth is Natasha. I'm going to be floating in and out, being like our Zoom IT support person. So yeah, first room is going to be Dr. Kellyanne. Second room is going to be Ruwan. Third is Minakshi. Fourth is Minal. And Ruchi, I'm going to put you in room number 1 too. So with that, here we go. Godspeed. Also for folks and attendees, sorry, I don't know everyone who's here. If you have a loved one or somebody, a room that you specifically want to be in, please put it in the chat and I will match you. Okay. All right. I'm pressing the first go. We'll see you on the other side. Kellyanne, go. Ruchi, you did not get assigned yet. Let's get you in room 1. Casey, let's put Casey in room 4. Okay, Kaylee, room 3, Kelly, room 2. Okay. Anyone here that has a person you want to sit in on? Or I'm going to just. Yes, please put it in the chat. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Hi, Jackie. Can I go to room 3?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Jackie. Is it possible to put myself and Barb Salis with Sabina?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, room 2. Okay.
Jackie, can I go with Vanessa?
Yes. Yes,
Thank
you can. Room 4. Marta's in room 4. Okay. Janet's room 3. Heather's room 2. Anna's room 1. Did you get in, Marta?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if since it's our last gathering, if we have video capability, maybe share yourself so we know what you look like. So far, many of you are just names and a voice.
Yes, that would be great. And Jackie, we invited you because I tried to hit record, but need host permission. Well, it recorded when you hopped in. So hopefully when you leave, we can still record.
I just gave it to you. I'm going to pop out.
Okay.
Let me know if you can't do it. Okay.
Okay. We'll summon you back if we need help, but thank you for hopping in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye. Hey, Lara. Hey, Ippy. Let's get you assigned. It's great to see you, Lara. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm the breakout room bouncer. So let's get you in a room. Hey, Ippy. I'm gonna get you in a room too. You should have gotten it.
It's going. Jackie's
Cool.
here.
Thanks,
Sorry,
Jackie.
Marie. I need to give you permission.
Oh, good. I heard it start, so I think
it might be because I'm making it record, but I just gave you permission.
Oh, okay.
I'm also going to give Kellyanne permission too, because no, Kellyanne, you already have permission because you're an ELSO person. So, all right. Godspeed. Bye.
Thanks, Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.
Tennis friends, the communities I'm part of the Roosevelt community, my friends, family, and then the tennis team. My project was how to minimize the amount of trash in/around streets, train tracks, and trail. What I need to make this project come to life, I wrote funding, working or talking to businesses about my project and how they can help, community members, volunteers, having people spread the word through social media / making posters, where I can make connections. I can make connections at school, like with teachers, family, and friends. What else did I have? My timeline, I was planning a project would be now until maybe January, December, like full on like finishing it. And then after that would be going out and like hanging out posters. What else did I write? No, who is this audience for? Who is it for? Who is this centered? I said the North Portland community because that's where I live. It's for like animals that live on the trail and people that use and pass the trail. Okay, Okay. And then I also have to share this, right? I think.
Yeah, and you can cover as much of that as you want to, just to kind of touch on something that really struck you in the readings.
Okay. So the reading I read was what is emergent strategy? I think. Yeah. Something that really stuck out to me from that essay, or that that reading that story essay, is I really liked how they repeated a lot of like something don't. So for example, she said birds don't, trees don't, dandelions don't. And then by doing this, for example, with the birds, you can see that birds don't have a plan of what they're gonna do. They just have an instinct of what's going to happen, like when they have to migrate, how long they have to be gone and come back. Um, and then I also wrote, it makes the reader think and reflect how some things don't know they exist. For example, plants, trees, and flowers. Something else I liked about the essay was says in the story it said that things can't survive without being able to create learn from a community. And yeah, it also said that I wanted to learn about other things that aren't aware of their existence, but it help us exist. For example, it said
22 minutes roughly. And excluding the outliers, I was without technology for half that, 11 minutes. Just let that sink in for a second. I was conscious for 14 hours and 44 minutes in that entire day. And in that time, on average, I spent only 11 minutes not relying on any technology. I get anxious when my phone battery life drops below 20%. Can you imagine not having any at all? Any light in your house, any microwave to heat up instant ramen, any hot water to shower with? I want to zoom out for a second. Outside my house on Bainbury Place, outside Oregon, the US, North America, and I want you to close your eyes and think about the earth at night. Beautiful, glowing, illuminated with the starry glimmer of city and streetlights. And better yet, open your eyes, I have pictures. And what it shows, I found, was really interesting. Okay, pause for a second. This may work and it may not. So bear with me. Okay. Okay, here we go. You know what? Okay. Can you guys see? Is it good? Okay. This is the US in the present day, at night from a satellite view.
We don't see the US. We
Oh.
see your words on the word drop.
Dang, okay. Let me see.
I think it's the NASA. It must be the other tab, the NASA tab.
Let me see. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, Samantha's killing it. She's doing great. She's just finding her tab.
Yeah. Can you guys see that? Hold on. I can do this. Okay. Anyway, you can envision the US at night, right? The lights. Europe is a similar fashion. It just glowing with a golden light all around, everywhere. And then you take a look at Saudi Arabia. I wish I could show you this because it's just, if I can describe it, the Nile, actually, the Nile River is illuminated by light because of fishing villages on the sides of it, because it's a great source of, like, water. And also the tip where the Nile reaches the Black Sea. And Saudi Arabia, as you know, is in the Middle East, and all around it has a stark comparison to many of the Western or modernized countries, and if you'll forgive my wording, it is dark in the center, except for in the cap.
Hey, Vanessa, did you get kicked out? Okay, if you're talking, I can't hear you. I'm gonna put you back in your room 4.
So that's how like the booklet came up, because there could be ways where I could go and research different farmers markets. Like there's a Saturday farmers market by me, and like different farms, like Topaz Farms out on Savi's Island, where they grow their own food, and to like show people this is a place where you can get it, while also showing them, which if I can go over there here. This is like showing like on this page right here would be have the organizing name. It could have like a location, a map, because not like going to Savi's Island, you might not have service. Like it could show a way for you to get there. Products that they have that could also depend on the season that's grown, because like we don't grow squash in spring. Like some like showing that, showing the reason why the owners started this farm, like maybe it's family inherited, and the history of it, because that's important. And also just like why I think that's important is because a couple weeks ago, I went to the farmer's market, and me and my mom bought salmon from a family that goes out and searches and catches their own fish to come to markets and sell it. And we were talking, and he was talking about how it's a huge family like tradition, and they all go out and it's really fun. And he's like talking about this is his family's business, and this is supporting like everything. And I think that's important, that we need to support locally, like companies and local families, especially BIPOC. And he was indigenous, and like this is something that he holds like close to his heart. I think that's really important. And then also just looking at like the statistics of that I showed here, which is like freshwater consumption, like a lot of it comes from food waste, which is something I wouldn't have known unless I looked that up. Or like, a lot of food doesn't go eaten in the US, but like if you think about it, 30% of the population of millions of people is a lot of food. Like America is known for eating overconsumption. I feel like this could also help that, for being conscientious of what we're buying. It could even go to like fast fashion, but like specifically on food, we just can't just like buy things and just like have them and then just not use them and throw them out. That's normal, but it shouldn't be, and it's harming our environment. And then on the essay I read Buildings Designed for Life, on the book that we got for this project, which was All We Can Save, which is a bunch of essays. And how I connected this back to my project was the author talked a lot about how we need to look at the like culture and the climate we are in before building a certain building, so we can have less gases and like things come out to harm our community. And I thought that also goes with my project, because like how we buy things should be response to the climate we're in, which could like mean like farms, like Portland grows a lot of certain things. I feel like we should like use that instead of having like certain foods shipped in from other countries, which also creates a lot more gases, and it's like a lot more pollution. So yeah, that's my project.
Thanks so much, Isabella. It sounds like Vanessa maybe is having a hard time connecting, but Jackie sent me audio along with her slides. So actually give me 1 second. I'm going to unplug my headphones and try to share audio, and let me know if it's working or not, and we'll come up with a backup plan if not.
Or Vanessa, do you want to
Everyone's
troubleshoot now?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Is it good? Is it good or?
All right. Is everyone seeing my screen? Good, thumbs up, okay. Wait 1 second.
Castellanos Mederos, my pronouns are she, they, and as many people may know, I am Cuban. As a kid, I've always loved the ocean and the beautiful creatures that call the ocean home. But looking at the memory of years ago and the reality, it makes me pity the next generation that will not be able to see what I saw. In the next slides, I will be talking about my project, Oceano, and the change that I want to create with it. My project is about connecting food, culture, and the ocean. I want to create a Latin night where people from different countries and cultures can come together and sell their cultural representative dish. In this way, they can gain some money to donate to companies that their purpose is to clean the ocean from trash. While food is sold, a professional environmentalist will come and talk about climate change and how it's affecting the ocean. And as a result of that, those countries that go to the ocean for their food resources are losing their dinners and their cultures. What will we need? We will need a couple of things. We will need an establishment to be able to coordinate, potentially my school. We will also need volunteers that are willing to take off time of their day to cook their cultural meals. Volunteers will also help us to sell and get some money for the fundraiser. The cooker will get a percentage of the sold food, since I know most of them will not do it for free. Location. For the location, I was thinking I can use my community to help me achieve my goal. So why not use Parkrose High School as a place to hold my event? It has a great space in the dining area where students eat their food and also a pretty big library so people can peacefully eat their food while learning about the damage that climate change is causing for the countries that are suffering. Volunteers. Like I have said before, we will need volunteers to make food and help us set the things up. I know my family will be willing to help if they aren't busy, and I'm also 100% sure the students and teachers from Parkrose will love to participate in this event. With the cook situation, I know my mom would love to cook Cuban food. I also know some food trucks would love to collaborate since they'll be bringing awareness to the struggle their motherland is going through, plus they will be selling their food for a good cost. On the side, you may see some examples of islands that are affected by climate change, such as Cuba, Republican Dominican, Haiti, and Puerto Rico. Let's keep in mind that any country or location by the coast is affected by rising temperatures and rising waters. For the time, I was thinking every Thursday from 3 to 6, since people need to get home and get ready to work the next day, plus if they buy food from the carts, they will take food for their homes and benefit the food truck owners and us, since a percentage of the sale will go to us and the rest will go to the owners. So it's a win-win situation. The environment I want is relaxing and welcoming. The reason why I want the environment to be relaxing and welcoming is because I want everyone to feel at ease and to feel at home. I want them to feel like they are a party enjoying themselves. For the food, I want to bring cultural plates from all over the islands that are suffering due to rising temperatures and rising shores. The plates can be made out of fish or food that grows in the ground. Some examples can be Cuban food, ropa vieja, stewed shredded beef, ajiaco, rice stew made with meat and viandas, and tostones, plantain fritters. For Republican Dominican, we can bring Dominican Republican paella and pescado frito. For Haiti, we can bring Haitian delicacies, empanadas, and poison creole, or creole fish. And for Puerto Rico, we can bring ceviche and mofongo. During each session, I want a professional environmentalist to be present. That way people can enjoy the food. Plus, they want to know where their food come from and where the money will be going to and what costs. I know this project will take some time to take place, but I know it's not impossible. I hope that this project sparks a little bit of interest. I hope you enjoy and have a nice day. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa, for getting that all organized. So that concludes our student presentations. I'd welcome any
to poverty, no hunger, and clean water. And I did do a slideshow.
Let's go to the slideshow. Okay. Cool.
I was gonna do a poster, which I did, and I hung it up at my school. But there's no pictures of that because I did it today. And facts about trash. The average United States resident creates over 4 pounds of trash per day and up to 56 tons of trash per year. In a lifetime, the average American will leave a legacy of 90,000 pounds of trash for future generations. Africa, the food currently lost or wasted could feed about 300 million people. Why is it harming human life? Annually, more than 14 billion pounds of garbage is dumped into the world's ocean, mainly marine life toxic plastic. Between 400,000 and 1 million people are dying as a result of such mismanaged waste. Plastic is blocking waterways, causing flooding, which is turn spreads waterborne disease. When people burn the waste to get rid of it, releases harmful toxics and causes air pollution. Toxic waste can harm people, animals, and plants. Whether it ends up in the ground, in streams, or even in the air, some toxins, such as mercury and lead, persist in the environment for many years and accumulate over time. Humans or wildlife often absorb these toxic substances, and then when we eat fish or other prey. What can we do to help fix this problem? Buy secondhand items and donate used goods. Before you go buy something new, considering buying it used, which can also save you lots of money. That can mean buying secondhand clothes at Goodwill, used furniture, repurposed construction materials, Habits for Humanity, Restore, or research Craigslist for a deal on a bicycle. By purchasing secondhand items, you'll be supporting local charities in addition to saving items from ending up in the dump. Use reusable grocery bags and not just for groceries. Just like a reusable water bottle, you may already have a reusable grocery bag, although it's often forgotten at home. Try writing bags on the top of your grocery list to help you remember, or keep them in the back seat where they aren't as easy to forget. Many grocery stores will provide a 5-cent bag refund so that you'll save a few cents while reducing your usage to one-time use plastic bags. And that was my slideshow.
Thank you, Crystal.
Crystal, was your idea then to put up this poster and convince people to change their habits at your school?
Yes.
Okay. And So you said you just finished the poster today and it doesn't have pictures yet. So is that something you're going to follow through?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll send them to forgot her name. I think it's Jacqueline.
Yeah.
I'll send it to her.
Okay. And so I am curious, what made you think of this particular topic?
In my chemistry class, you were learning about England and the sewer system.
Yes.
Back in the day, that
Mm-hmm.
had to be really smelly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to do garbage because that was what we were learning in class.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you the same question. And if anybody else has questions, just feel free to jump in. Again, what is how has this camp helped you? Helped you in your goals and whatever you think of your purpose right now?
Can you repeat the question? It was like stuttering out.
Yeah. How has this camp helped you? What difference has it made to you?
That I learned a lot more than I already knew.
Okay. I hope you had fun doing it. And thank you for a great presentation.
Crystal, super great job. This is such an important issue. Consumption is absolutely going to be the end of us. We consume way more than our Earth could ever produce or sustain for the full population of the Earth. So I really appreciate that you are bringing light to all of those different issues, both in our country and looking at a more global perspective of how our actual impact doesn't just impact us and the trash that we're producing on our continent and our ocean, but it's like everyone is connected and these systems are all connected. So that's super cool. And I love that you created a poster to be able to share with your school. From this, was there anything that you found that was either changed your perspective on the subject or that you're going to continue to pursue and explore as you go forward?
Can you repeat the last part?
Just anything that really blew your mind or anything that you're going to continue to look into and explore and share with people going forward.
I find lots of people use garbage. Yeah. Confused about the question, but that's just my fault because my brain can't process it.
Really great job. Thank you.
One thing I wanted to just comment on was that somehow I didn't connect the dots and didn't think about trash being something that we leave for next generations. I just didn't think about that way before. So I wanted to just comment on that and say thank you for that different perspective, Crystal.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Cool. Okay. So I think we can go to I think who was next was either Tiffany. I think Tiffany was up and then Tammy. So do you still need me to share screen, Tiffany? Or for both of you, actually.
Can you share? Mine's at the bottom, so
Yeah,
to the right.
Yeah, right here.
Right. Oh yeah, apologize about some construction going on. So
Do you want me to go straight to the visual presentation or do you want me to start here?
start with my introduction, slowly move to the right.
All right, perfect. Hopefully I can try to zoom in as best as I can. Cool.
Okay. So hi, my name is Tiffany Vu. My pronouns are they, them, yay. I'm feeling okay so far. At school, I was pretty stressing about the presentation, how it was going to be, but I'm doing it right now. My project is basically about trash value, how the value of trash, I guess. And my project idea is to bring a more awareness to trash reduction. And I can basically, I'm using my identity as a student or an artist or so to share my project in artworks and show it to people. And basically my communities and my identities as artists can make an artwork that can spread awareness, aka by I was able to get a few friends of mine or a few classmates to ask them if got any spare trash to give it to me so I can make it into a special little artwork. And basically the diagram, the main goal was to reuse trash and turn it into a pretty looking artwork for you to look at. And personally, I think it will help bring awareness and give some school janitors a little help. They need some help picking up some trash, honestly. And they're just trying to do their best. The artwork can also will basically show people this ooh ah thing that basically made of trash on the floor. So I was thinking, wow, that's pretty nice, but it's made out of trash. I didn't know that. And the reason why I chose this idea is because when I walk around the school to throw away like a piece of trash or something, I literally pause before I do because I'm seeing a bunch of small trash stuff literally right next to a trash can and not inside it. And that kind of ticks me off a little bit because seeing trash just thrown on the floor besides trash can really shows how people see trash as so little value, but they don't give a second thought. They just throw on the floor. They don't give a second glance at it. They just leave it there. They don't bother to throw in a trash can at all. And my project is to take those tiny trash on the floor that is not in trash cans and to mash it and shape it together into a little artwork so people can see that their trash is made into a pretty little artwork that they can look at and see how the trash they thought like so little of now has a bigger value that they can think of more. And to reading the book from All We Can Save, I read Ode to Dirt by Sharon Olds, and it's about a woman apologizing to the dirt that she never treated as an equal. She feels so ashamed of herself. And this kind of tied down to my idea of people seeing trash as so little value, and I feel kind of ashamed of them, of myself and like them for it, for being trash on the floor. And basically, you see my artwork right there. I basically I shaped trash into a little bin. I don't know if you can see it. I painted over it to make it look more pleasing to look at, I guess. And I got a hand reaching down that I shaped together. I kind of pitch patched it a little bit. And personally, this kind of helped me, well, this affected me because while I was making the artwork and collecting the trash, I physically had to hold the trash in my hands and I saw how much trash I was making and how much the people around me are making as well. And I literally had to rip them apart, cut it apart, and like seeing it and putting it together and being with it like for a long while making this artwork. It kind of traumatized me a little bit maybe, or made me realize how much trash I'm making. It makes it a little bit self-conscious about like tiny stuff you see, maybe like a tiny wrapper or candy wrapper or a snack. Now I think about how much trash I'm making by myself. So I'm thinking back to all the small little trash I make. I'm thinking that's a little bit of trash, but altogether it kind of piles up a lot. And if it's not thrown away properly or just thrown on the floor, it'll pile up again with other trash. It'll make a even bigger trash pile. And that's my project.
So I think the juxtaposition of Crystal, who gave us one perspective on trash, and yours is just really nice because it gives us two very different perspectives on the same thing. So Tammy, for me, I have a very science background, very linear thinking. So I appreciated your presentation because it took me outside of that thinking. So I just wanted to tell you that. And for me, your presentation brought these reactions of it. You're seeing, there are many different layers that you made me think about. One of them included that you're seeing beauty where other people aren't, and how you're using that. Your reflections on that were very interesting to me. And how you took that trash and made it into a symbol of what you hoped other people would do. Anyway, I just thought that was all very interesting and very different from me because that's not the way I think.
Thank you very much. Also, it was me, Tiffany, not Tammy. Small mistake.
My apologies. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It was kind of funny.
Tiffany, it was really cool to see like how this idea developed because we got to work on some of those early sessions together and kind of how you were like, oh, I think I'm going to do something like this. And like, I'm not sure exactly the impact that it'll make or what it'll be, but like as it slowly formed and then to hear the process that you actually went through, the act of actually collecting it and like you became, it was like the process of creating the art was also like the process of like living the art and like recognizing the amount of trash, kind of what Crystal was talking about, that we do produce and how many things we just discard as opposed to view as something that is a resource that we've taken and made into this product and are now consuming and moving up through that. And I really love kind of like how you've shown just like how much the trash is and how even like with the way that you painted over some of it, as you said, to make it more attractive, that also gives you the kind of like the fact that it's galaxy-like in the night sky, it like kind of puts us in the context of we are just like this one earth in this space, in this like black hole basically of space, and that this is all we're being amounted to is this trash, as well as like by covering the trash you're kind of communicating that kind of blindness that we have to the trash that we produce. So just really beautiful, wonderful job. Thank you for creating this and sharing this with us.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to add this. Crystal, you think more like me. So I enjoyed your presentation for that nice factual, I mean, I don't want to sound negative. I think it's a great trait. So I'm coming from a positive place. So, and for me, having those two back to back really worked very well.
Glad things turned out very well.
I have one question. What did your friends think of what you did with their trash?
Oh, so basically, it was just I asked my art teacher if I can have just a plastic bag, and she was wondering, oh, what's it for? I'm like, oh, it's for an art project. She's like, an art project? You know, she was my art teacher. And I had to explain to her what this whole like situation was. She's like, oh, all right, I hope you do well. And basically, I approached my friend saying, hey, yo, if you have any leftover trash, give it to me. It's for an art project. And one of my closest friends who didn't want me to like literally walk around and pick up trash that helped me as well. But we did the best as we did. We got other people's leftover like candy bags from lunch. I think lunchtime was the most like perfect place because people leave their trash on the floor as well. but I'm gonna say one downside was this because I collected the whole bag of trash.
But oftentimes this oral storytelling is something that feels very good to us and to the communities that we come from. And I just want to celebrate your ability to not only like present orally, but to include quantitative data in that presentation in a way that was proficient. Like it was, you had all of this quantitative data that was embedded in the story that you were telling. And I felt like that was really compelling method. I also really appreciated your ability to move across scale. You starting at this embodied experience and this individual and personal experience, and then like moving out to this planetary scale. Your ability to like connect those concepts and demonstrate scale in this presentation was really incredible. I appreciated that you brought up the difference in power consumption between North and South Korea. I posted a link in the chats to a documentary called Our Brothers and Sisters in the North. And I think it would be a really great perspective if this is something that interests you. It's about environmental sustainability in North Korea and some of the solutions and habits that they've developed, even though they're not as energy consumptive as other people in the world. They do have really proficient systems, especially around environmental sustainability. And I think you might be interested in that. So you should maybe check that out. And I think speaking of systems, all of the presenters, it's so wild because like it took me so long to come to systemic analysis and like thinking about things and systems. And you all are doing it now, which is, and proficiently, whether it's food systems, energy systems, or housing systems, like you're thinking about things systemically, which is so good. Chef's kiss. For Misu, thank you for leading with your identity, naming the communities that you belong to. Anytime that like I talk to people about things like this, especially design, bringing your ancestors with you wherever you go, I think is essential. Oftentimes spaces where you're talking about design or presenting about design or thinking about change, like you're asked to leave that stuff at the door. I think that like that should come, like bringing your ancestors in any room that you go, I think is incredible. Bringing the communities that you belong to anywhere that you go, I think is an incredible way to start. And you did exactly that. And that was really incredible. Your graphic, yeah, blew my mind. I was like, so just amazed because it was thorough, it was thoughtful. You had like so much variety. Not only was the graphic proficient, I'm gonna use that word again, but like it was prescriptive. You understood that fruits and vegetables were, you like made this connection that fruits and vegetables get thrown out at a higher occurrence, and you address that in the diagram, which was amazing. And you thought of tangible outcomes, and you responded to changing conditions in the pandemic. There was something about like a shared table, which sounds like a practice that was pre-pandemic, and now you were like thinking of, now that we can't have that because of this thing, like how do we move forward? And I think that that flexibility, that adaptability is essential and incredible, and you're already doing it. And for the last presentation, the housing aspect, this is like root cause, and you like spoke to it. You talked about commute times being increased for 50% of students, I think at Woodrow. You talked about displacement of youth activities. I recently saw a speaker at an education conference who I really admire, and he's from Chicago, and he was talking about how like carjackings have gone up 60%, and we're talking about crime and the incidence of crime and it increasing. And then he cited that the average age of carjackers in the last
all of these like, you know, stories and how people are being impacted, it would be a good idea to include like how you can kind of promote it, like promote like help them on the website. So connecting it to like a fundraiser for different organizations. I came across a lot, and I think that the one that I mentioned was pretty significant because it kind of directs towards like directs towards advancing from like the situation that they're in. So let me go back. It says that it can like help build like adaptive societies and like enforce more like development. And I think that after you realize what the problem is, that's like the first place you kind of want to go. Does that make sense? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just really interested, and I don't know anything about this field, so I'm just kind of curious about, it does look very official. So it's kind of giving folks who share their stories another step to take to have an influence and get their stories out there, and perhaps be connected to an organization that might even help fund some change or connect them to other funders and resources.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think adding that additional step of the funding is really, really interesting as a way to help support the work across. It's been the theme across all of the presentations, but that community basis is really cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we, Jackie, before we ask any more questions, how much more time do we have in the room?
So as always, time is a construct. It's 5:53. And we want to save some time to have the panel discussion. So maybe, but I want to make sure y'all had a chance to talk to everybody. So like, is 5 minutes enough? Is that too much? 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think 2 to 5. We've had questions with everybody, but I'm sure now that we've done individual, we can ask kind of more holistic questions and whatever the other rooms need to.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes.
Okay, right in the middle.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Nettie. Thank you for coming. Hi, everybody. I think rooms are going on break. Yes, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Room 2 is wrapping up. I'm going to pop into 4. They had 4 students. So Tammy was just wrapping up her presentation. I'm going to pop in there real quick. Thanks, Marie. Hi, everybody. Are we on a break? I think we might be.
Hi. Everybody was taking a quick break because we thought that we were going to go back to the breakout rooms.
Yes. We're meeting in the main space. Izzy, did everyone got to present already?
Yes, and then we had like some questions and answers.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to put in here. I might just close out the breakout rooms in a minute. Okay.
Yep.
All righty.
And then with the facts and the different things that you've incorporated in your text that you're sharing about this, like a lot of the examples that you provide are like equally as visceral. Like you're talking about just the like intense like spread of plastics and like the major, like how like palpable the like problem is with how much you make it, and then like how much we make in plastic, and then how quickly it can degrade and how pervasive it is, and then all of the different things that actually affect like our health and well-being, and how it's not just like you have multiple situations where you're talking about like this is terrible because we see it in all of these animals and species, and similar to the like image, you're like, the animals, no. And then you go through and you're like, it's in my beer. Like, no, like it's like these multiple levels of just like, oh my God, there's plastic everywhere. But then I really appreciate how your last paragraph, you're like, but people are trying to do things, and there is kind of hope for that. And so overall, just like really great work. Thank you.
Thank you for giving feedback.
One question I had though is, how are you sharing this? Are you gonna be part of Paul's publication?
Figure that out.
I hear Paul's trying to put together a news publication of student environmental work. Maybe you guys can talk.
So the thing about Procreate, it can like I can have like a time lapse video of how I made it, which I think fits in a timeline for like TikTok. See how that goes.
That would be great. I'd love to see this go viral. I can't wait to see it on TikTok.
So I would like to say that I was very impressed by all the presentations in this group, and I hope that at least, I don't know what the other presentations are, that all of you can get together. If Paul can act as who gets you all together, and you can have a publication, a different kind of version of how we can save the planet, as in how this group can save the planet, because you've got the science, you've got the art, you speak the emotions, you speak the tactile, you speak the facts, you have the stories. So thank you for sharing this with me. I really enjoyed it.
Anyone else any last words, just generally by everybody? I think Meenakshi kind of hit the mark what I was trying to get at, but yeah, everybody did a really good job though. So everybody should feel happy, should celebrate. All four of you did a wonderful job in your presentation. So this is something to celebrate. So all that pressure, the stress, everything everybody was feeling should be out your system. So but yeah, cool. So I think, Jackie, we're gonna head into the main room and take a break, or
Yes, I'm
Okay.
going, yes, time's a construct, as you know. We're gonna close out here. We're all gonna come together. Everyone's gonna take a 5-minute break, and we're gonna have a 15-minute panel discussion. No, actually, no, we're to 6:20, 30-minute panel discussion. So we're good to go. Okay, congratulations, y'all. You should be really proud of yourselves. And yeah, okay, closing rooms, and we'll see you on the other side.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay, hi, everyone. We're gonna do an intermission break till 5:45. So get drinks, snacks, bio break, whatever you need, and we'll reconvene at 5:45. Hello, friends. Vital Voices community. We are taking an intermission. So be back for 5:45, 5-minute break, drink, snacks, bio break, whatever you need. Okay. And we'll see you in a little bit. Anyone got a song to listen to right now while we fade back in?
Not ready.
Not ready. Kellyanne, you got a song for me? K-pop. You want? Tiffany, what K-pop? BTS. Okay, which one? Teach me, teach me.
Butter.
Butter. All right.
Smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover. Don't pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that. Cool shade stunner, yeah, owe it all to my mother.
Are you seeing the YouTube too?
Yeah, I'm making you sweat like that. Break it down.
Yes.
Okay.
It also has the IQ air.
Okay, I invite people. We've been sitting for a while. If you know these dance moves, please share. I'm gonna just do some stretching while we're standing here. Why do I feel like Ruan might know some BTS dance moves? No?
I don't think so. No, sorry.
I was gonna say, I would love to see them.
I'm sure you will.
Vanessa knows.
I have goals to dance like this one day.
Me too. Okay, if anybody's got photos of the updated hair color of folks, post them in the chat. Please, Vanessa, I know you do.
I have a toddler next to me dancing now too.
Yes. Sahana getting on it. There's Sahana. Priya, I definitely like this video now, 100%. You teach me new things all the time. Can you see the new hair too? That was fantastic. Thank you, team. Butter intermission. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, guess what? Presentations are over, y'all did it. You did the dang thing. Congratulations. Let me stop sharing so you don't see my Google search. So good, so good. Okay, while we are together, before we get into conversations and like heavy hitter talk with Minal, Meenakshi, Ruchi, and Dr. Kellyanne here, does anybody want to share what you thought about what you just saw?
With BTS or the...
Yes, with BTS, with presentations. I feel like they complement each other. Climate justice, racial justice, all the things.
It was great. I loved the like overlap and the passion and like just seeing everyone getting more informed about the things that are important to them. And I'm really excited for you guys to continue your path as climate justice advocates and be able to like go out there and share this information with your peers and your families. And I'm excited. I hope that like there's a way that this information could get culminated and shared out to the world, beyond just this circle here today and even your school circles, because it's just been super great.
Yeah, I would definitely second that. I was really impressed the different perspectives for students in the breakout room I wasn't presented. There was Paul with his very activist hat, and there was Crystal with her very scientific and factual hat, which I loved because that's kind of where I come from. And then Tammy and Tiffany just blew me away with their artistic side, which really spoke to me, and I'm not autistic by any stretch, in a whole different way. So I would definitely say that it's really worth it to help them take the next step and spread it further than just this camp in whatever way that is possible.
Yes, I really appreciated hearing the inspiration and the backstory leading these projects and hearing how people's identities making these projects important for them in their community and giving back. I thought that was really cool. And it was very like action oriented. Like, I want to do this, this, and this is why. So it was very organized. It was great.
I was really blown away when I really realized exactly how young everyone was. And just thinking, in a way, Jackie, and this program in general, in a way it democratizes higher level thinking in a way that you usually have to go into debt $10,000 a semester to get it. This is actually the reverse, where you have an opportunity to think like you're 22, 27, 33, 48, right? And to get to do that as a team, that's kind of what blew my mind about it.
Ruan, Minal, Ruchi.
Well, yeah, one thing we in our group, one thing I think we all noticed was that, there's a wide variety of problems that they're trying to solve, right? Whether it's waste in the streets or climate change and resilience to climate change, or food waste, or food, that's all those things. But the solutions were pretty common, and they were all community-based and very grassroots, bringing the community together and bringing the knowledge to the people and making change from the grassroots level. So I was really impressed by the presentations and the visionary thinking in that regard.
Yeah, I'd echo that, because our group was, all the projects were food related, and they were, the essential nature of food is pretty much no one can escape it. And it was nice to see the whole spectrum of sort of seasonal eating or seasonal production, and supporting local families and their way of life. The example of buying salmon from an indigenous person whose whole family depended on that. So it connected a lot of things, and food is that substance that connects us all. And it was encouraging to see bringing a lot of things together. And that's not just passion, but it also brings the humanness into the science or the climate change conversations that are often so abstract.
I think it was really inspiring to see everyone really interpret climate solutions from their own perspective, and just taking it on sort of internally first, and then kind of letting it unfold, and not really thinking of it as a big daunting sort of thing to tackle, but more just looking at solutions from their own background and interpreting their own history and what's around them in their environment to come up with their projects.
I gushed a lot in my group and was going to put this in the chat, but there's like immaculate vibes happening in there and I don't want to mess those up. So I'll just say that I really appreciated how personal all of the assignments began as, or responses to the assignment began as, and how proficient everyone in the group that I was able to see was at systemic thinking and like finding root causes to problems instead of something that I'm more accustomed to, and that's like diagnosing symptoms instead of like getting directly to it. And Kellyanne brought up the fact that everyone is so young, but I think that like there's not a lot of hopeful places in the world right now. Last week was a long year. I'm like in it, you know? So to see like young folks leading in this way and with joy and with like relevance and personal, not personality, but in ways that are personal, and the way that care is centered in like this entire process, at least what I've been able to see so far, I'm just like absolutely amazed. So thank you everyone who's like here, and thank you especially to the students for doing this work and for sharing it with all of us. And I hope you keep doing this work. And I can't wait to see like what comes of all of this.
I was in the same group as Derek, and I agree with everything Derek just said. It was really, really great. And I think that, the projects ranged from electricity and access to electricity and how that looks in terms of both power as electricity and power as like political power, and how food waste and awareness around food waste and what that means. And I really took this when I mentioned this to the group to home. I've been vegetarian my whole life, and I have a lot of food preferences, and so that kind of really just resonated with me in how I think about food, and from like a scarcity and like an abundance standpoint. And the discussion on the project around gentrification and the built environment and how communities change and shift. They were so different, and I remarked in our group that there were also these really interesting themes that arose for me in terms of each presenter talking about how awareness and about the issue, even though they're really complex, and just kind of having that deeper understanding. And I really think that's so true. My area of work is sort of more in like policy and politics, and I think it can be very exhausting to think about what elected officials and politicians do day in and day out, and feel very frustrating because that feels like that's your chance to make the change that we need. But having worked in that space, it really is, for better or worse, a reflection of all of us. We elect them, I guess, and I love the recognition of that deeper need to have that awareness, because when you think about something like justice, whether it's access to power or food or the place to live, the justice pieces around that can be very personal and are very personal, and there's emotion there. But those are the same themes of justice that you see on a state, like a city, a state, a country, or even internationally. Like the climate change conference that was happening in Scotland over the past couple of weeks, those negotiations were falling apart because people weren't doing right around justice. I mean, it's kind of like the same things over and over again. And I just feel like the sort of need to have these solutions that resonate back to the people who are affected by them, and that awareness that comes with it is an integral part that's often missing. So I feel like each of the projects that we got the honor to listen and hear about were touching upon that really important piece, even though they were pretty different.
I think that might be a good segue to questions. Does everyone feel good about that? So I know we got a few questions. I know we've got 15, 20 minutes. So thank you for all of your comments. I'm wondering, does anybody have a question they want to ask our panelists first?
Yes, I have a question. Why do you choose to stay in this work?
I can answer that first. Well, so a little background if you don't remember, but I'm a mechanical engineer, right? I got into mechanical engineering. I decided I was going to get into that in high school. I thought I was going to be an architect, but I figured I wasn't creative enough or artistic enough to go there. So I went mechanical engineering. But the reason I went and became a mechanical engineer or engineer in general is because I thought I could make a difference in society, in the world, right? As engineers. And so I'm still doing this work because I feel like I am making a difference, right? And what I do is design buildings, essentially infrastructure, that sort of thing, and things that use energy, that use water, use resources. And so if I have the ability, I have the power to make a difference by designing systems that use less resources. And I also have the platform to speak and educate and convince others of the need to do the same. And so I feel like I am making a difference, right? And the reason I got into engineering in the first place, from back in high school, that reason is still there, and I feel like I'm meeting it, right? So that's why I'm still in my line of work.
I can take a shot. Let's see. I stay in it because I think, yeah, I stay in it because I feel like there's still a potential for us to rise to the moment of all the craziness that's around us, not just climate, but social injustice and production injustice and consumption injustice and food injustice and all that stuff. I'm not a designer in the sense that I don't make things, or I make things, but I don't design things for other people. I stay in it because I like to challenge the way it is and to see what comes out of that challenge. And that conversation usually gets me in touch with all sorts of folks, designers, politicians, educators, researchers, just everyday folks, my neighbor. And I find that there's a commonality, that everybody's seeking something that unifies us, but we're all connected or thrown a lot of noise that keeps us from sort of actually realizing that connection. And so, but I see sparks here and there, and every time I see a spark, that's enough for me to keep going. It's sort of it's not that I'm seeking 100% success out of whatever I'm doing. It's to see that there's one or two people that say, yeah, this could work, let's try it. And that's enough of an incentive to try something different than just do the same old that hasn't made a better world for most of us. It's made it for a few of us, but not for most of us. So yeah, that's why I stick around still.
Yeah, I think I'll take a shot at it as well. Why do I stay with it? I want to say generational guilt, but I'll change that to generational joy. And I I realized at some point in my life that some of the things that were iconic as I was growing up, things like the Great Barrier Reef and other natural things, the Amazon forest, may not be around. They may be around for my son is 29, but may not be around for the younger generation. So that is what keeps me going. The fact that I would like the younger generation to find that same joy in nature and the natural world that I found. So to not necessarily to preserve, because nature is not a static thing, but to become, and I don't necessarily want to use the word stewards as well, but to be more aware and respectful of our environment and enjoy the beauty that it provides us.
I can jump in here and maybe even answer some of it, because the way that the first question was, it was making me think about why I stay in the work. And then I was like, what is the work? And I think that's actually kind of how I'd answer the question of what I wish I could tell my teenage self about the career I have now, which is that it can change and shift and morph to do what the work is. And I guess that I wish that I could have told my younger child self, like, you don't actually have to have all the answers yet. Maybe just the next step and see where the path takes you, as long as like you still feel really good about the North Star that's, getting you excited about that work, however you define it. So like for me, it was realizing that like what I thought maybe was more of like a hobby of caring about the environment or liking to be outside and starting an earth club in high school and picking up litter, just stuff that I thought I did kind of as a hobby, maybe not for school or for like what my career would be, really is just what I find myself able to do without like having to try, I guess. I try is the wrong word, but like I like being able to see whatever my day-to-day actions are, like kind of getting towards this thing that I care about. So I don't know, maybe that's a little different every day if I read a news article about climate impacts, or if I think about something around like animal rights, or if I think about just different injustices that I see in the world. So however I kind of define the work of the day, I think is kind of a way to think about taking that next step. And so for me, that has involved kind of seeing what the opportunity is in front of me and not really having the total plan when I was a teenager or a child. And I've, that's kind of nerve-wracking to like not have it all figured out from the get-go, but finding people who also care about that work and also want to work with you and kind of like figuring out those next steps one at a time can be a way to approach it, which is how I have. But my North Star is definitely around the environment and justice and climate change. So the ways in which I think I can contribute to finding solutions there without knowing that like I don't have to have the entire solution myself, but I'm part of like a community that's thinking about this really gives me hope.
I just believe in reciprocity, that we need to give more than what we receive, or at least at minimum, give what we've received. And from every economic band I've been in, according to the IRS, what I know for sure is that I still love free. And the environment is one of the few places that you can spend time to not have to spend money to be in that space. It doesn't matter if it's the 1st or the 15th or the 31st or the 16th, the earth will always be there for you. It will not charge you a ticket. It will not charge you an entry fee, an exit fee. And hopefully we can reserve it so that it doesn't have to cost to breathe.
So I just want to leave this place better than I found it and let it be okay to be free and cheap and it be comfortable for the people of the world.
Samantha, we've got a lot of awesome things in the chat. I don't know what the best way to organize this, but I want to honor Samantha's first. You want to ask your question?
Yes, so I'm not sure if this was addressed in previous ones, but to the panelists, I want to ask, what is it that really, I guess, not only keeps you in your career, but like drives you to keep going and say, this is what I give to the earth and to the world, and like what keeps you grounded in that, like your any doubt or anything, you know?
I'll take a stab at that. Yeah, so what keeps me grounded is pretty simple. Last week I shared that I had gone up to Mount St. Helens, and I do that periodically to go to mountains or places that are enormous and places of nature where I can feel tiny by intention. I want to feel tiny. I want to be reminded that it's not about me, that I am passing through this time and space and do what I can, but it's bigger than me, that it's about community, it's about connections, it's about more than human life. It's not just caring about your neighbors, but it's also the places for the wild things to be wild. What keeps me grounded is it may sound funny or trite, but it's that geologically, I and we are almost insignificant, but ecologically, we are doing things of significance that is, like Meenakshi talked about, places that I've been before the internet. So my beard tells you how old I am. That they no longer exist. Many of the creatures that were unique to those places are no longer, in the wild. They're no longer in the gene pool. They're not even in a genetic code of the world anymore. That's sad, but it's also a motivator for me to keep at it, because nature needs a voice. People need voices. Right now, most of the voices have been quieted for the single voice of growing the economy and making more things and selling more things to more people. But we all know that doesn't keep us happy. It doesn't keep us connected. It doesn't keep us safe. It doesn't. So I don't know. I think those kinds of things that are just way bigger than me, and reminding myself every now and again that there are a lot of things way bigger than me, and that me is tiny, and we have to keep thinking about the we. And so that motivates me. So how do I take what I know and apply it to becoming sort of the collective as opposed to just the individual thinking?
So I will also respond to the question about what keeps me grounded. And it is pretty much it is similar to what Minal said. But I'm trained as, I study the atmosphere. And that's one of the things that keeps me grounded. This is the Earth's third atmosphere. The cyanobacteria poisoned the first atmosphere, right? When they converted carbon dioxide to oxygen, it poisoned them. We are doing it to ourselves. The Earth will survive. It's just what our role is going to be in it that will change. So that's what keeps me grounded. The Earth, nature, the universe, we are small. We have a big part to play in our lives and in our species' lives and even on our planet. But in the larger scheme of things, that is what kind of prevents me from having too much doubt. It's like, how big of a mistake can I make anyway, as a single person? So.
I think that there's a fine balance with being an optimist in this work, and I definitely try to be a glass half full person. Hilariously enough, my husband is a glass half empty person, and together we have enough water, is my joke. But I think that there is sort of a balance there, and there's an urgency to this work as well. And I go back to sort of the community of people with these different perspectives that are working on this. And if I'm bringing my optimism and my constant desire to try to fix things and find solutions, and hopefully somebody's bringing that urgency to say, well, let's do this now, or let's do this in a way that really addresses this thing that's very important now. And I like to work with them to try to figure out that path. So I do have moments of doubt. It's impossible to be an optimist all the time. And it's when you take a break. It's when you try to find a place that gives you the calm and the reminder of like why you are at that North Star, and kind of what the others have said in terms of going to certain places that are special, or talking or being with family that reminds you of the why. It can be really helpful.
And I'll real quickly add to that. I know we want to get to more questions, but one of the things is, this line of work sometimes can be frustrating because you're sometimes going up against a current that's going the opposite way, right? In terms of climate change and trying to make a change, and that can be. I know I've felt doubt and frustration. But what does keep me going is kind of what like Manal talked about, like the sense of community, or more a global community, like not for myself but for us, right? The species, the world, but also the community that I work with, like all of some of the friends that are on this call that colleagues that I work with. Particularly here in Portland, like there's a lot of knowledge and passion and desire to make a difference. And I experience it every day when I'm on a call on a project with someone else, like with Amanda or Heather or anyone, it's like everybody's trying to do the same thing. So it's really heartening for me to when I talk with other people, that so there's support, so community support in this industry.
You guys up for one more question? You up for one more question from Paul? Take it away, Paul.
Awesome. It's a pretty long question, so I'll just copy paste it into the chat first. But in your career path or personal journey, do you feel represented in your work environment and or in the work you do? How has this awareness and experiences impacted your efforts, and what do you hope to change for future generations, thinking through the lens and utilization of youth activism and student voices? That's a lot. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm good with a lot. I can be super succinct about it. I'm a first generation college student. My mom had me at 15. My father was addicted to crack. The best way I knew how to get out of the hood was to become a physician, a medical doctor. That's all I thought you could do if you love science. I got to medical school, got to Georgetown, number 10, $60,000 a year. I get there, my grandmother has Alzheimer's disease. I come out to take care of her. They say I have to reapply. Okay. They say I have to retake the MCAT.
Okay, now I have crippling anxiety and I can't perform well on the test. My scores dropped 40%. I don't know what to do because all I know is I just want to survive. I want to be successful. I want to be someone that my family can look up to. I want to be the person that 50 years from now, when they find my name in the family tree, I bring pride to the family. I wanted to be that person. If I can't be a physician, how am I supposed to do that? So I started ELSO out of a rant with a good friend, like, oh my God, life is crazy. What's our, where are we going to leave this world? How are we going to make it better? And so we started this nonprofit. And I ended up becoming a scientist. I'm a behavioral pharmacologist. I got my PhD in 2014. So I was a doctor before 30, but only by about a good 10 days. And I left science because I looked around the room and it was just me, and I was there by accident. And I thought that was a crying shame. I was there by accident and I was the only Black face in the room. So it made me wonder, how are we supposed to get other Black and brown leaders into positions of power? How can we have other people become scientists rather than physician's assistants or nurses or allied health professionals? Those roles are valid, as we're seeing during COVID. There are people going on ventilators because there aren't enough physicians and physician's assistants to check on people enough to get them to not go on ventilators so that they have an end of life faster than what they expected during a global pandemic. So yes, allied health professionals and actual health professionals are super needed. But what about the people who are somehow or another booted out? The universe is working against them. What are they supposed to do? So that's what I'm here for. So that's why, I edit these grants and submit these foundations and take these stupid interview requests and and do all of those things because I want to make sure that people who find their talents can find their voice and find a job other than what they think they can do. Because sometimes, regardless of your best effort, you're not going to end up in the room that you expect to be at 20, 30, 40, 50. And so part of why I'm into being in a nonprofit is because I want people to know their job options. Are there enough Black and brown leaders in nonprofits? No. Oregon's only 2% Black. I want to say, being a Black female PhD, I think there are only 2% of us. Out of all PhDs, 2% of them are going to be Black women. So there aren't enough Black PhDs. There aren't enough Black people in Oregon. Well, I mean, we won't even recount the history of why that is, or why we're pushed in and out of places, or how we've been, killed over the years. Don't need to do that. But to me, it's important for people to know, regardless of who you are and what your talents are, there is a space for you. I've never had a Black mentor, but I have done 17 informational interviews with strangers I found on LinkedIn just because I liked the way their resume looked. And I was like, hey, let me appeal to you as a human. I would love to have a great career like you. I bet you drive a nice car. I bet all your loans are on auto pay. What can I do to be like you? And people were just super chill and easy and willing to talk to me at 22, 24, 26 years old. And then again at 29 and 30 and 31 when I had a PhD, but didn't know how to write a resume other than I wanted to be a physician. So that's part of why I'm in this work. It's part of why I refuse to say that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a good speaker. I'm a good speaker because I'm opening my mouth. And that's what I want for all of the students, you are a good speaker because you're showing up and because you're doing the work. And wear your story proudly because you're the only one that can do it.
Yeah, I'll take a quick stab as my story is not as exciting as yours. But I'll say that, this is my fourth career, if you can, because there were four just distinct industries that I worked in. But I'd say the last two have been places where oftentimes, more than oftentimes, majority of the times, I was the only brown guy in the room, taking a position that was more often than not counter to the position that was prevailing in the room. So as being a contrarian, it was the perfect place for me to be. And I had never actually considered myself the brown guy in the room until recently. A colleague and I were discussing that this is just the way it was. You were the brown guy in the room and you just dealt with it. And your lived experience was sheltered behind this knowledge and scientific things that you were talking about. But only recently that I've started to sort of transition out of that and say, okay, without my lived experience, a whole lot of things that I talk about aren't real to me or to anybody else. So in a way, it took me a while to realize this movement of DEI and the BIPOC and the awareness in the society allowed me to get out of my own sort of wall that I kept myself safe in, to now just say, okay, I've proven myself as a scientist. I've proven myself as the person who can be in front of a huge crowd where I'm the only person that doesn't look like them. I no longer need to do that. I can now bring my entire self to the place. I can now present myself with the whole span of things that I've walked through. And if this is my fourth career, I'm going to bring everything from the last three into this conversation. And if somebody wants to attack me, I'll bring everything to them and they won't have a chance in that sense. And that's been my attitude now. It's sort of, it's liberating in a way, but it's also makes it difficult for someone to just throw what they think is monkey wrenches, because now it's not, I'm not just talking about the climate. I'm bringing everything else that I've done around climate and any other science and environmental testing and internet connections and all that, the different teachings that I've done and things I've learned from different people. So I think representation is a strange thing. It's sometimes you don't have to see the people with your same facade. But it's important to bring your whole self somehow. And this group of people, I think, in these students that we work with, are much more aware to be able to create your own identities and bring that together where you go. And I think that's going to be, at some point, there's going to be a wave that's going to shift the dynamic.
Yeah, I'll go next. So yeah, good question, Paul. There's a lot to unpack in that question, of course. So have I felt represented, right? So I guess it depends. Like I went to high school in Maryland, went to school in Maryland and grad school in Maryland as well. So pretty diverse area. So growing up, I felt fine, represented. I think even in grad school, great. As soon as I got my first job, engineering, boom, big difference, right? It's like, hey, where's everybody? I think you learn to sort of pass, right? And you as whether you're BIPOC or immigrant, whatever, you learn to assimilate and to the various cultures or the different environments that you're put in. So like I probably, majority of my life, I probably had a different way I interacted with people at work, and then a totally different way I interacted with my family when I came home, right? It's like two different cultures, really. And so, yeah, in work, it's been quite a difference. Like the representation just hasn't been there. And as I've grown in my career, so early on through now, I'm like in management positions, it's only gotten worse, right? It's the higher you go up, the less and less representation that you see, like yourself. I would say, early on, maybe I was not aware, or I wasn't aware enough, but later on is when I started to realize, like, hey, look, wait a minute, I'm actually having to work a little harder than some other people to get the same kind of promotions or get to those levels than others. It's like, or, in reviews or whatever, you may see, you may get comments that previously, I may have taken personally, but later I've learned that some of these comments are, wait a minute, is there a double standard going on here? You start to kind of realize those kind of things. And so right now, to the kind of the second part of your question, Paul, like now I am leading our JEDI committee at our office. So, you know, Justice, Equity, and Diversity Committee. And what the biggest thing I think we can do as people that are established in our careers right now is to start to develop networking and mentoring capabilities to students. For me in the engineering field, it's women engineers and BIPOC engineers. Those are the folks that we don't have, right? So so how do we set those up? I mean, one of the biggest things is a lot of folks, you know, for them, it's their first, like Kellyanne said, it's the first, you're the first person in your family to go to college. So you don't have like your parents to mentor you on how to go through college. You may not have your dad's friend in a particular firm to give you an internship when you're ready to get that internship. So how do you set up those you know, networking capabilities for those students currently now in, you know, K-12 or in college? So I think that's the biggest thing that we can do, is to set up those partnerships and allow for networking and mentorship abilities. So yeah.
I would like to talk a little bit about this. I worked in software. This is also, my current career is my third. But I worked in software from in the 1990s and the early 2000s, a woman in software. And I've, of course, faced sexism. And I also went to one of the most competitive engineering colleges in India, where you learned pretty quickly. You had to work twice as hard. You had to do twice as well to be seen as, to be half as good as a male. I was used to dealing with that, and which of course, you have to be better than everybody else to be even seen in that same level. And I could deal with that because, you know, you see that it's rampant in software. But I didn't feel discriminated against based on the color of my skin. So sexism, yes. But the other thing about working with software engineers is that they are very logical. And so if I could prove that I knew what I was doing, I knew there was a way of being maybe not seen for my full potential, but, you know, close enough. It is unfortunate. And then I went back to school and got a PhD in environmental science. And academia is fun because it is, you're creative. It can be fun. I was in a great group. But it is at DEQ where it was my idea. It's like the microaggressions, which I think it's good to warn you young people about. The thing that, this has happened to me more than once. I have an idea, I'm in a meeting, I say something, and if it's a good idea, it's attributed to somebody else. The manager will say, oh, that's a great idea, you know. Frustrating. And then the other thing that happens, which I would like all of you to be aware about, is they will say all the right words. Great job, but they will come and consult you. You will never be at the decision-making table. So you're always an outsider. You're always fighting. And in the worst case, is they come, they ask you, you do the work, and the credit goes to somebody else. Because you are just a hired help, no matter how good you are. They pat themselves on the back for having such a wonderful employee, but you're never one of them. And you can fool yourself up to a point, but you don't feel good inside. So that is what I would like to tell you from my experience. It's like, when you are in that situation, be aware, it is not you, it is the system. And don't let it bring you down. There is a lot of support, the world is improving, but we need to live, all of us need to live in a society and create a society where our potential and who we are as humans is honored. So, and the way I think about it is when all these walls of racism or whatever ism are created, we are not only penning the minority, but we are penning the majority, right? Offense is offense. It is also creating boundaries. for the so-called majority. So we need to keep that in mind as we navigate this, because being in a difficult situation also gives you strength. You know, I am truly twice as good because I've had to spend a lifetime trying to be twice as good. So I am much more productive than anybody, than most people I know in my group. So take those strengths and do not be crushed, but use those strengths to develop your own potential and always try to keep compassion. That is the hardest thing for me to do, keep compassion. So that is kind of my words of wisdom. And what am I trying to do for future generations? For me, that way is teaching. I teach one class a year at PSU. And honestly, working with students is what gives me joy. They're idealistic, they're curious, they're interested in the world. And working with them is what makes me happy. It keeps me going at some level. So anyway, thanks for listening. But I wish you all the best, because I know the world, and you are slightly different in whatever perception, it can be difficult. And there is that pressure for you not to be yourself. But no, each of us is unique, and we bring our own strengths, we bring our own values, and we should never be ashamed or embarrassed about being who we are. As long as it's good, right? Don't do harm to other people.
So much wisdom. Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you, Minal. Thank you, Ruwan. Thank you, everyone who's been here holding through. This has been an incredible conversation, and I don't want it to end. However, I know we're over time. I just appreciate everyone who's been here in the space with us today for the past 2 months. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, all of our youth cohort. You've been incredible. Does anybody want to do any closeout, say anything? Nope. Okay. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your incredible work. This is, as what folks are saying, y'all are part of the ELSO community now. You're part of the DEQ community now. You're part of the Oregon State Department of Energy community, PAE. So we're gonna be in touch super soon for what we're gonna do after. Okay, thank you all so much. If anybody wants to wave celebration on our way out, I'm gonna stop recording. Appreciate you
Bye-bye.
all. Have a great evening.